The state of Idaho, like some of the other major government entities, has been targeted in the past with cyber and hacking threats. It's resulted in Governor Butch Otter appointing the state's first information security director, an indication that Idaho is about to get very serious about digital threats. Well, since the beginning of his term in 2019, Idaho Governor Brad Little has talked about the importance of that cyber security statewide. Now there's renewed focus on fighting cyber attacks in recent weeks as American businesses and government entities continue to face a barrage of digital threats. A Colorado meatpacking plant, as well as the Colonial Pipeline that runs through the southeast, are among the largest targets that faced millions of dollars in losses and disrupted all kinds of consumer issues. So where does Idaho stand in this? Is the state ready to deal with new technology and some of these hackers are throwing out there? Joe Parris spoke with Jeff Week, who is Idaho's information security director, about the evolving technology and how Idaho is working to fight off those threats.
When you see the headlines like the meat plant that got hacked, does that, I guess, draw a double take from you when you see headlines like that, or is it kind of just part of your job?
It kind of does, I guess, to me personally, but in reality, they're indiscriminate on their targets, right? It's just this shotgun approach. And as long as they can hook into one person or one entity, one business, then that's money in their pocket. So they're indiscriminate in the way that they operate. They don't care if it's one user or multiple users, large corporations, and they're going to get their money one way or the other, I guess.
Is there a reason for the state of Idaho to be concerned that they could be targeted next?
Of course, I think there's always concern for just as you've seen in recent activities, as you mentioned, that if this is a continual chess match, and you hope that our pieces are in place a little bit better than the criminal element that's out there. But every day there's new exploits, there's new attacks, there's new ways for them to to gain access to our systems. So I'm always concerned.
Notably, in 2018, the state of Idaho government was targeted with some cyber attacks, as well as prior to 2018. But this resulted in Governor Otter appointing you to essentially take charge of cybersecurity for the state. Over the last 4 years, how has your role evolved, and what improvements have you personally seen?
We've changed quite a lot. Originally, I was hired as the director of information security, and since then we've stood up a brand new agency in the state, and that's the Office of Information Technology Services. And there's been a wholesale change in. Originally, we were 68 different executive branch agencies, kind of operate in different manners, right? So now we're starting to consolidate those into a more centralized approach, and we're getting people kind of in the right place on the bus. And we have subject matter experts now versus kind of maybe jack of all trades as we used to be.
Have you noticed, I guess, attempted attacks increasing in recent months on the sites that you guys monitor and the servers you guys monitor, or has it been, I guess, pretty typical?
We do. Really, during COVID, we saw a large spike in activity. The criminal element doesn't let a catastrophe go to waste, right? So they were really hammering our network, knowing now that we're taking our employees and we're instead of behind our firewall, behind our securities, we're getting them out into their home environments, and they're working on commercial grade internet connections or their residential grade internet connections. And we saw quite an increase, and I don't think that's really subsided since probably this time last year.
We've heard this term ransom appointed to some of these cyber attacks. I mean, is this all really this is about? Does he know if this is more than about money?
More recently, it's been about money in some of these major cyber attacks we've talked about. And actually, a lot of the transactions have been done through Bitcoin, which is essentially supposed to be untraceable. If you did see, though, the federal government was able to see some of that ransom that was taken recently from the Colonial Pipeline. But you'll remember last year, the state of Idaho was actually faced with a few cyber attacks. They were pretty mild, but I spoke with the hackers who claim to have done that work, and they told me that we do this because we have a message that we want to share, and we think this is a platform that people will see. So there are two very different motives of basically a digital bank robbery with more steps, and a group that would have a political message. What we're seeing more recently, Brian, is those scams that are looking to get money, but certainly the state of Idaho is no stranger to hackers trying to get in and take over a site to show their own message.
And I can see how maybe Idahoans be like, well, it's just the state money, I'm sure they got it, but I don't have to worry about that. But there's also your information. The state has a lot of that in several of these entities, so that is also subject to hacking. So got to be careful about that too. All right, thanks, Joe.